Salut tout le monde et bienvenue. Welcome to this new series from Coffee Break Languages. This is Walk, Talk and Learn. Now, if you've been following us for some time, you may have come across some Walk, Talk and Learn French videos before, in which my colleague Pierre Benoit was out and about in the streets of Paris talking about the language that he saw. Now, hopefully Pierre Benoit will be joining us for some future episodes, but for now it's just me, I'm afraid. I'm in the studio, but I'm also out and about somewhere in France. So let's take a look at where I am for this first episode. Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue à une édition spéciale de Walk, Talk and Learn. Aujourd'hui, on est au Roland Garros. We're at the Roland Garros tennis tournament, the French Open, and we're going to be doing some walking and talking and learning here. Donc on y va! Okay, so for this special edition of Walk, Talk and Learn, we have a special slogan because it's got a lovely subjunctive in it. Pour que nos émotions ne meurent jamais. So that our emotions or our excitement never dies. And here we've got pour que plus the subjunctive. Now the interesting thing here is that we can't actually see the subjunctive because meurt is the same in the indicative as it is in the subjunctive. But normally, after pour que, we have a subjunctive. Let's go back to the studio and talk a little more about the subjunctive with pour que. Okay, so the Roland Garros tennis tournament has just finished, and I thought therefore it would be a good one to start with. Let's take a look at the slogan. It says, pour que nos émotions ne meurent jamais, so that our excitement or our emotions never die. Now this is a great example because it gives us an opportunity to look at two things. First of all, the subjunctive and what the subjunctive is, and also one of the triggers of the subjunctive, which is pour que, so that. So let's take a closer look at the subjunctive and what it actually is. The subjunctive sometimes causes a little bit of fear for some learners, but it shouldn't, it really shouldn't. It's basically a special form of a verb which is used in certain situations. Now, we actually have this in English too. For example, if I say, if I were rich, I would buy a yacht. That were is a subjunctive. In French, the subjunctive is a little more common, and it's used in a variety of situations, and of course, like all French verbs, you have to learn the structures and the formation. What I'd like to do is focus specifically on some subjunctive triggers. Now, we're going to be looking at different subjunctive triggers in different episodes of Walk, Talk and Learn, and in this one we're focusing specifically on pour que. Now, pour que means so that, and if you say pour que, then the next thing that follows has to be a verb in the subjunctive. We need to learn how to form the subjunctive. And to form a regular subjunctive, you go to the il or elles plural form of the present tense and then add a series of endings. We're not going to spend too long on this, but let's take the verb parler, to speak. Here are the subjunctive forms of the present tense of parler. So, je parle, tu parles, il parle, elle parle. I know what you're thinking, there's no difference. It's exactly the same as what we call the indicative, the normal verb, if you like. So far it is, then it changes. Nous parlions, vous parliez. And again, you might be thinking there, these look familiar too, they look like the imperfect endings, and they are. But here we're talking about the present subjunctive. And then for the il, elles plural form, it's il parle, elle parle. So the whole verb looks like that, it's not too different from the indicative. That's a regular ER verb. Let's look at the key verb for this example, which is mourir. Not exactly perhaps the most positive verb, but we'll look at it anyway. Now this is the present indicative of mourir, so the normal present tense. I die, you die, he dies, she dies, we all die, you all die. It's very negative this, but not to worry. Je meurs, tu meurs, il meurt, elle meurt, nous mourons, vous mourrez, il meurt, elle meurt. Okay, that is the indicative, the normal present tense of the verb mourir. Let's take a look at the subjunctive form of mourir. And you'll notice that there are a few changes in this one, but there's one form of the verb that doesn't change at all, and that is the il, elles plural form, as in pour que nos émotions ne meurent jamais. So here we go, the subjunctive forms of mourir. Je meurs, tu meurs, il meurt, elle meurt. Nous mourions, vous mourriez, il meurt, elle meurt. Et voilà. I'd like to look at a couple of examples of the subjunctive with pour que, using perhaps more normal verbs. Let's move away from mourir for now. Here's one. Je parle lentement pour que tu me comprennes. Now, tu normally would be comprends. You understand. Tu comprends. But in this case, it's a subjunctive. It's following pour que. Je parle lentement pour que tu me comprennes. Comprenne is the subjunctive form of comprendre. So I speak slowly so that you understand me. Let's move on. Il est venu pour que nous parlions de la situation. He came in order that we talk about the situation. So he came so that we could talk about the situation. Il est venu pour que nous parlions. Now it's not nous parlons, that would be the indicative form, we speak. Here is the subjunctive form, nous parlions. And yes, it does look like the imperfect tense, but this really is the present subjunctive. Okay, that is where we're going to leave this episode for now. We are talking about pour que nos émotions ne meurent jamais. That is what the Roland Garros is all about. And there we've looked at pour que, we've looked at the formation of the subjunctive of a present tense ER verb, and we've also looked at the specific verb involved in this example, and that is mourir. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this special edition of Walk, Talk and Learn here from Roland Garros. I'm off to watch the warm-up match with Nadal and Pouille. So, à la prochaine. Salut!